Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Coffee with Jim and James. It's great to be here. James, before we bring in our special guests, I have to tell a funny story that will resonate with
Please
Tom.
do. I already know what it is. This is one of my favorites.
Okay, COVID, first year, 2020, when we're getting into the virtual conferences, and I had the honor of being asked to present at a OGA, Oklahoma Gas Association virtual conference, which, I've given presentations over 2-3 decades, love giving presentations, standing on a stage, seeing the people in the audience, having a clicker behind me. Well, this one was virtual. And literally, it was like the first virtual conference I had to give. And the first thing they said, well, you have to have another screen. I'm like, well, I only have one screen. So I went out and bought a new screen and tried to get it all working. And we're literally 10 minutes before the conference and sweat's pouring down. And I think it's working. Get into the conference. And my screen that had my notes and everything goes blank in the middle of the presentation. I was mortified because usually, like, if I'm in front of people, I can say, well, I don't need this. And I just kept going. And I didn't know if there was 3 people out there. It turned out there was like 50 some people afterwards. I felt terrible. So, Tom, I do want to apologize to you 2 years later for that. That was not, as you've probably seen me present in the past, that's not how I normally do it, but that was the worst presentation I have ever done, and I'm going to blame it on technical difficulties. With that, James, get me out of this and get me on a better path, brother.
So, today we have Tom Ryder from the Oklahoma Gas Association joining us. Tom, welcome to the show.
Welcome, Tom.
Thank you, James. Appreciate being here.
It's great having you.
It's great sharing a laugh. I remember it's fun. I think I was booked or I was speaking on another slot on the same day. And so Jim tells me this story that day. And anyway, it came to me this morning and I was like, man, that was a funny time to think back. Thinking about Jim just doing tech support on himself is fun to think about, Tom. Tom joins us today from the Oklahoma Gas Association. Tom, you've been around here for a while. I mean that out of respect. I'd love for you to kind of catch people up on what it is you do and kind of your journey and what got you here.
Okay, well, thank you. The Oklahoma Gas Association has been around since the late 80s. It was initially formed by Natural Gas or Oklahoma Natural Gas and Arkla Gas, which is now Summit, Centerpoint Legacy, all those transitions that go on in the business. And several large municipalities, specifically Guyman and Pryor, came together with the purpose of providing safety and operational training for small gas systems. It was a request that came down from the Oklahoma Corporation Commission to make sure that the industry as a whole was as safe as it could be. Well, as the transition of OQ1, OQ2, and everything else has gone on, we too have had to transition. And what we focus on now is operational best practices, leadership training, and platforms to exchange ideas for all segments of the natural gas industry. And I've been fortunate enough to be with OGA since 2002. So I am in fact, this month, I am into my 20th year with the association.
Wow.
I'm excited about that. I'm excited about where we're going with it. But right now, as we have transitioned into more of a how do we bring all peoples together within the industry, we're fortunate enough to have members like One Gas, Energy Transfer, Summit Utilities, One Oak, municipalities, including Pryor, Tuttle, Guyman, down to some of our smallest, which are Willow and Oilton. So we continue to reach out. We are the only association that hits all segments of the distribution system as far as membership goes. We don't focus on just one. So we are fortunate in that.
That's an interesting thing. I love that about the OGA. James, my first OGA when I met Tom was in 2009, I believe.
I think that's right.
Wow.
Yeah. So Tom and I have known each other for a while now.
Yeah, and for those that don't know it, I think I've mentioned it on the show, and I'm sure we'll talk about it again later. But I'm on the board of directors as well or the board for OGA, and that was kind of Jim was involved, at least from Energy WorldNet standpoint, as a kind of as an advisor, was, attending and working with OGA a lot. And then when Jim relocated to Florida, he was like, it was great timing, I think, Tom, because there were some needs also with OGA that I was able to step into with my role with Energy WorldNet, that I had access to resources and all kinds of things that it felt very natural for me to jump in, where Jim was having to relocate. And I know I'm not from Oklahoma, Tom, but
We like you anyways.
I'm 40 minutes from there. I mean, I feel like an honorary member at this point. So I kind of stepped in, and so that's kind of how this relationship even started. So Jim was like, "Hey, I want to plug you in there," and then I got involved, and then was asked to be an advisor, and then was asked to be on the board, which I'm very thankful for that. So that's kind of how this transpired. Tom, 20 years in the industry, it feels like you had seen a lot in that time. Especially in the technology and training space. I know you do a lot of leadership training and things like that. Um, Man, that's got to have been quite the journey, those 20 years.
It's been something. I mean, we have gone from being able to host specific training, operational training that everyone could claim as part of their training process, to when OQ1 came out. All of a sudden now you have to have subject matter experts, you have to have the field training, you have to have all this, and now OQ2, even more refinement on that stuff. So as an organization trying to transition to promote the industry, to promote natural gas as a viable fuel source for a lot of things, not just generation of electricity, but cars and everything else, as well as our in-home stuff. It's been a unique ride. Some of it's been uphill even.
Well,
both ways.
It's uphill today sometimes, right? And I think now's the time for us to put the pedal even further to the metal, as we like to say, because there's so many great benefits and takeaways and usage and everything with referring to natural gas. And it's wonderful to, see the things that the OGA is doing to, again, help keep that on the forefront and help people to understand those values that our natural gas industry brings to not just our country, but the world. You
Absolutely.
guys play a big part in that.
Tom, I know we have a big look. I know I'm on the board. I'm not a silly person.
Wait, let me ask this. Is there a big event coming up, Jay?
There is. I hear there's a big event coming up. We've been working, I mean, honestly, for a year. Well, and I would say longer than that on this one, because, we're coming back in person. But the OGA Annual Conference is coming up. Will you share a little bit of details on maybe why people should attend? Is this a Oklahoma specific thing? How can they get involved? Anything like that. And if you would, give the dates as well.
Okay, sure. I'd love to. Our 2022 annual conference is August 29th through the 31st. It's going to be held at the Embassy Suites Hotel in Norman. Great conference center, great conference space down there for us.
I was there not too long ago. Very good space.
And our challenge, and I say our challenge because it's the board working with staff to make this all happen, but our challenge is always to deliver real-time, impactful training and conference settings and events that make it worthwhile for people. We don't limit it to Oklahoma only. In fact, we have members who are in Texas, Arkansas, Kansas. Yeah, I know. But we go all the way down to Houston and all the way up to Nebraska with where our members are located. So it is open to all natural gas professionals, and we believe there is something for everyone. We kick off the whole event, if you will, on a Monday with some pre-conference events, basically a golf tournament and sporting clays, strictly for the networking opportunity, the time to get together and meet, for our associate members to meet with their customers, to develop relationships with new customers. We end that day with a reception, our opening reception, again, another great opportunity. And then on Tuesday, which is kind of our big day, it's a whole full day of sessions and everything else. We put right in the middle of that our People's Choice Award luncheon. And this is a huge successful event for us. We have cook teams from 4 different utilities coming in, and they get to prepare whatever they want to prepare for our folks. And it's amazing sometimes. We've had
That's a barbecue event out in the parking lot. Is that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We moved the eating portion of it indoors, of course, because it's August.
Yep.
But the cooking all happens out there, and they start early, and they'll do everything from steak bites to shrimp to quail to we've had crawdads. We've had, I mean, it's just whatever they choose to bring. And then they provide samples, of course, to all of our attendees, and everyone gets to vote. And at the end of the day, there is that winner who has bragging rights for that year about providing the best fare for the luncheon, and people do appreciate it all the time. I mean, they're constantly thanking the cooks for doing it, but it's a high
So,
point on Tuesday.
so Tom, it's funny because I just told the story of how I've been involved with OGA, but here's the kicker: I've never been to an annual conference because all of my time was in the pandemic.
Right.
And right after the annual had just happened was when I got involved because Jim, that's where you kind
Yep.
of then
Yep.
went to Florida. So
Yep.
I've never even got to go to this event in person, only virtual. So I don't even know. I
Oh,
just we hear about it at the board meeting and we vote on stuff and I'm excited for myself. I'm playing golf. I'm eating barbecue. It's a tough life. But
it's epic. It is epic. For my memory and my little taste buds that are tingling right now, I mean,
excited.
first class. It's fun. It's fun. And last time I was there, Tom, the whole back parking lot. Again, this Embassy Suites is a huge complex. People have to understand this is a huge conference and hotel and everything. And in the back, I think a good portion of that parking lot was blocked off, so you could walk around. It was almost like being at a county or state fair, and I mean that sincerely. I mean, it was
Man, I'm
that
in.
vibe. I loved it.
Yeah.
And
We
then
don't have as many teams as we had back then, partially because we've got a lot of, who purchased who and what companies. Have we gone from 3 companies to 2 companies to 1 company type thing?
Yep.
But it's still a lot of fun. And, those, the folks who do the cooking, I mean, they are serious about their business because it's their reputation on the line. And
no
they want to
doubt.
provide the very best fare. And our folks have always enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to James having his first experience with it. And Jim, if you have to get out of Florida, I got a good place for you to come.
You know what? And I think we talked about this in the past, but I just have to give a little plug for my great grandfather, Red Shower, who was in the patch in Oklahoma 100 some years ago. And still a few of those oil wells are in our family name and still producing to this day. So I am
So Jim is technically Oklahoma, an Okie as well. That's what
we
we're.
still have
That's
property in
honorary as
Oklahoma.
well.
So yep.
Yep.
Long-standing. Tom, there's also some vendor time as well scheduled. We're going to have time with our associate members. There's a lot like this. I'm telling you, I've been out on the road. I've got to see a lot of associations' first foray back out. Since the pandemic, and it's exciting what is out there, the tech, the everything. You've got to be pumped about the exhibit hall as well, or the associate
We,
members.
our associates are such a vital part of our association, and we try very hard to make sure we dedicate specific time and ways for our associates to engage with our attendees and make that I mean, it is very valuable. It's valuable to our associates because, as I always tell our attendees, I said, look, here's the deal. You don't have to have every one of them come into their office at a separate time. You've got this one location. They're going to be there. Come see them, visit with them. And by the way, you're going to get multiple times during the conference period where you get to visit with them. So,
Yeah.
that it's a huge thing for us. I mean,
And I love that you dedicate that time to them. But Tom, I am a exhibit hall. What's the right word, James?
Rat? No.
Yes,
That's what. This is a booth rat.
love the
That's what.
I mean, I embrace them. But the other thing too that the OGA, I've always been enamored with the sessions and the quality of the sessions and the people. And I also hear that maybe this year somebody, one of the 3 of us, might be giving a presentation himself. James, did I hear that too? So let's dive into some of the presentations and sessions that are going to be happening this year, because those are great.
yeah, and they are. We've got a lot of good sessions. I'm very pleased with the strength of our conference this year. One of the truisms that we try to follow in this whole process is we learn best when we learn from each other. So to bring in not only industry specialists, but people who support the industry to have that, and then the networking opportunities that go on, not only within the sessions, but the times between sessions. Some of the sessions we've got this year are understanding the supply chain process with Angela Burnett from One Gas. She's going to be discussing not only the challenges, but the opportunities that the supply chain challenges that we are facing and what organizations can do right now. James, I'm going to let you talk a little bit about your session later on, but I do want to talk about the fact that it's engagement. I mean, that's what we're bringing James in for, is talking about how do you engage your employees. Steve Taylor from Summit Centerpoint Legacy is going to talk about how to be a champion. If we the employees of our organization don't talk positively about us and promote our industry, why should others be engaged with what we do?
No doubt.
We kick off with Dr. Chuck Jackson, whose session is I Am Their Leader. Which way did they go? We're starting off with a little humor, a little bit of fun to kind of really get people motivated. And then we're going to end really strongly with Sue Forrester from the American Gas Association.
Very cool.
Really strong sessions coming into this. And I'm going to throw it back on you, James. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about your session, please.
Well,
Yeah, bring it up, James.
I will. I will do a shameless plug. But before that, I do want to mention something. Being behind the scenes and being in the board meetings and everything and seeing this agenda come together, Tom and I witnessed it at the last board meeting. We didn't expect to check all the boxes to get it all done and have it all with a bow on it by the end of that meeting, and it came together perfectly. And I'm not saying it came together in one meeting. I'm saying this to me 2 years of work, because a lot of the things we wanted to do just simply would never have translated virtually. And so, with Tom's vision and Jason and Jeff and everybody and the whole entire board really putting this agenda together in this main day, especially there's some awesome sessions on there. I'm excited, and I'm humbled to be on there as well. I've got to speak now a few times on kickstarting a culture, and on that topic. Culture's big right now. It's bigger. It's not just the buzzword out there. There's a lot of fanfare. The Great Resignation is very real, and a lot of us are feeling it, seeing it, and taking advantage of it. And so, how do we navigate it? How do we make that important? How do we put that front and center so we take care of our most precious assets, which are our people? So I'm excited. General session, get on there, and there's some awesome breakouts too, Tom. I mean,
Yes,
there are just so many awesome things. Like I said, I'm looking for. I'm gonna go play golf. I'm gonna go eat barbecue, and I'm gonna go learn from my peers. Sign me up. And I'm gonna put an invitation out, Tom. I was gonna say it when we were talking about the associate time. I'm gonna put I'm gonna put an invitation. I'll put it that way, a challenge, whatever. And I'm gonna entertain doing coffee with Jim and James from there, and having Jason Crow be my co-host.
Are you
And
saying
we'll
if
do
I
it
can't
live
make
from
it
the
in?
hall. Yeah, Jim, because I don't think you can make it in. I think you're booked. But we're gonna look at it.
Yeah.
If
I'll
Jim
look.
can't
You're
do
right.
it, then Jason, he stepped in and did a funny thing on a podcast at our show. And he was
He did.
great.
Yeah.
And I said, man, you're a natural. And I think he'd enjoy it. And I'd bring some excitement to the hall as well. Bring some people on. So a challenge, an invitation, whatever it is, Crow. But if you'll accept, we'll make it happen.
It would be a first. Coffee with Jason and James. A guest host. James, I think we need to do this more often to give
we
ourselves.
can't make it everywhere, but
Yeah.
that's my challenge.
I applaud that. I love it. That's a wonderful idea.
Well, Tom, our time's kind of coming to a close. I do want to hit the dates one more time, if you don't
Please.
mind. It is August 29th through the 31st.
Correct.
And that first day, I don't want to say it's a play day, but it's the welcome day. It's the on-ramp. Main day being the 30th. That's the big general session day, and then some more training on that final day as well. 2 big training days there. So come join us there. Where can we go? They'll go to the OGA website, I'm sure, to register.
Definitely. And you can register either as a sponsor or exhibitor or as an attendee. Both of them are out there on the website. Just click on them and fill out the forms as you would normally for everything you do anymore.
Absolutely. That's okgas.org. And it should be pretty simple how to get there. Tom, before you go, we always give our guests just a little bit of time to whatever's on their heart, whatever's on their mind, kind of give you the floor to our audience and say, if you could give it all away, what do you want to leave people with?
We are a industry that is bashed a little bit because we're not eco-friendly, so to speak, and yet many times in many ways we are, that we just don't promote it well enough. So I think what I'd leave with the audience is this: we need to take the lead in developing innovative energy resources. We as a gas industry need to be looking at hydrogen, renewable gas, some other maybe even yet to be identified resource that we can bring to play to benefit not only our customers, but our future customers and their desires to continue with the carbon issues. How do we become more effective at carbon capture? What can we do? Because like every industry, if we don't evolve, we'll be left behind and become obsolete. And that's not where we want to go as an industry.
That's awesome.
Wonderful.
Tom, I'm going to circle back just one more time because I think it's important and it's a mission of our show as well. You saying that just kind of reminded me, we're big advocates of that there are plenty of seats at the table if you would like to get involved. Oklahoma Gas is no different, whether it's membership or, being an associate member or getting involved with the board. Tom, what's the best way for them to do that? Reach out via the website, reach out to you. Just reach out to me. You can reach out to me. I don't care. I'll make it happen, but there's plenty of seats at the table. Am I wrong, Tom?
No, you are absolutely correct. And we do want more involvement. The more engagement we have now, the better all of our training can be, the better all of our events can be, because we do have that input. Everyone brings a different perspective. You may have been on the pipeline in the field for 30 years, but you still haven't had the same experience as the guy in the next company. So Let us hear from you. Let us hear from all of you about that. But go through the website. You can email me there. You can email me through the website's the best way to get hold of me. Just click on it and get to me.
Will do.
Love it.
Awesome. Well, I've enjoyed working with the OGA. I'm very humble to be on the board there and help to affect change. Tom, you've been a big help there, and I appreciate your work. It was great to sit down with you today and get to fellowship, share some coffee or some water, and get ready for this conference, man. I better go study, Jim.
I got to check my schedule to see if I can get out of my other engagements so I can get there.
Great to see you again.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, absolutely. Tom, thank you for your time today. It's an absolute pleasure. Proud to be a member of the OGA. Proud that we are members. Proud of everything that you folks are doing for our industry. Please keep it up.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Until next week on Coffee with Jim and James, we appreciate you tuning in. As I always say, stay safe. Take care, everybody.
Bye, everybody.